So 5 years ago, Bob and I learned from one of our customers about an amazing anti-aging, stem cell increasing, blood flow increasing mat that many of us at Bloomers Forever Young and now so many of our customers now have in their homes that we lay on for a few minutes twice a day to increase the amount of stem cells coming out of our bone marrow as well as our blood circulation, so all of our stem cells and nutrients can get where they need to go. And for those who are not aware, stem cells come out of our bone marrow every day since the day we're born, and wherever your blood takes them, that's what they can turn into. If your stem cells are taken to your heart, they can become a heart cell, and to your brain, a brain cell. Their role is to renew, repair, and regenerate as things are breaking down. So we want more stem cells coming out of our bone marrow, and we want good blood flow to be able to take them where they need to go to fix your bodies up. We can have all the stem cells in the world coming out of our bone marrow, but if they can't get where they need to go because of poor blood flow, well, they're not going to do us very little good. And unfortunately, the older we are, the worse our blood flows. So anyone can own this anti-aging stem cell flow increasing mat for only about $60 per month on a credit card. And because this is possible because now we're living in the 21st century. Prior to the 21st century, no one knew how to actually reverse the aging process. But thanks to the discovery of the amazing power of stem cells, anyone living in this day and age can actually anti-age. What we knew prior to the 21st century was only how pretty much to slow down the aging process by taking such steps as, eating healthy food, keeping our stress level down, exercising, and taking high-quality nutritional supplements, including antioxidants to neutralize the harmful effects of free radical damage. But now that scientists have discovered the incredible, amazing power of stem cells, if a person is willing to spend as little as $60 per month on a credit card, we can teach people how to get this amazing, I call it a life-changing anti-aging mat in their homes to lay on twice a day for only a few minutes. And then they can start watching with wonderment in only a few relatively short period of time. They can start looking and feeling younger. And isn't that an incredible value when we hear about people spending anywhere from $4,000 to $60,000 for stem cell treatments? And, I've read for one reason or another, 50% of the time stem cell treatments don't even work. And if they don't work, the stem cell doctors aren't even going to give you a refund, even a partial refund from what I understand. I was talking to a man a few months ago who traveled to Costa Rica to get stem cell treatment for his heart at a cost of $30,000, which luckily his brother so generously paid. You go out of the country to save money. And I asked him a few months later after he took the treatment if he had noticed if his heart function had improved. And he told me that very unfortunately, after all that expense and going through the hassle of traveling out of the country, he had noticed very little improvement. Well, before we reveal more about the anti-aging stem cell mat, I want to remind people of the definition of aging anyway. And Wikipedia defines aging as a gradual decline in the biological system, ultimately ending in death. So there are two very important words in that definition I'd like to emphasize now, and those words are gradual decline. Remember, we're always told it's all downhill starting at age 40. But in actuality, I've learned everyone's health generally starts really going downhill as early as age 30. And athletes know this. My husband told me a few weeks ago that he read that the muscles of gymnasts at age 32 are not nearly as strong as even when they were in their teens and 20s. And that's why he said gymnasts at age 32 can't even win a competition anymore. So let's remember, aging is a gradual decline in the health of our body and our organs, ultimately leading to death. And so just as the overall health of your body is gradually declining, I want to give you a better picture of this aging and disease process. So I'd like to give you some examples of how some of our organs in our body are slowly declining over time. Remember, we have dozens of organs in our body. The decline of an organ's function is called disease. And a diseased organ or joint, it's oftentimes going to take many years before we feel any symptoms at all. For example, I mentioned this last time I was on, you might have heard of a person dying of colon cancer, and then you were told, well, he actually had colon cancer 10 years before, but he didn't even know it. Or a person you might have heard of had a heart attack and died. Well, that person just didn't get heart problems last night. You know, when they did the autopsies of Vietnam soldiers who died even as young as age 25, they discovered their arteries of their heart already had plaque forming. So with aging and disease being a gradual decline process, many people are walking around thinking they're in good health when that's certainly not the case. And I'd like to provide one example of how an organ gradually ages right now. Let's talk about the organ called the eye. You know, in my opinion, when someone goes blind, their blind eye is the equivalent to being a dead eye, a dead organ. But when a person goes blind, the slow death of that organ normally takes several decades to occur. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Now, your eye, like any other organ, is comprised of many cells. And if all the cells in your eye are healthy, you're going to have a healthy eye. You know, when we were in our, 20s and 30s and, starting in our maybe age 40s, maybe for some of us, you started noticing symptoms of your aging eye, diseased eye. And what was the first symptom? Well, you started needing reading glasses. Why did you start needing reading glasses? Well, because of poor blood flow to your eye. We have all these microvessels in our eyes. They're invisible to the naked eye. And when your nutrients can't get through those microvessels anymore because you start getting blockages in your microvessels in your eye, well, then your eyes start aging. And so I just wanted to bring to up that we have red blood cells going into our eyes to deliver the oxygen. We have the nutrients being delivered by the bloodstream into our eye. But for your red blood cells to enter those teeny microvessels, they have to line up in single line alignment. And you can put 250 red blood cells on the head of a pin. And so now as we age, we get blockages in those microvessels all throughout our body, including our eye microvessels. And think about it, if you can get blockages in your heart arteries the size of a straw, you can only imagine how many blockages you must have in these microvessels that are like 1/10 the size of a human hair. So what delivers the oxygen and nutrients to your eye and all your other organs is blood. And so as we get blockages in our microvessels, and, the first sign is needing reading glasses, so what do? We go to the Dollar Tree and we purchase a pair of glasses. And over time, with continual, poorer blood flow to the microvessels, we get a stronger pair of glasses as our eyes get worse, aging, and we get another stronger pair. And eventually in our 60s, pretty much a lot of us then, we get what's known as cataract surgery. Because, why did we get cataracts to begin with? Well, that's too many toxins building up in the eye. And so, you need your blood to take the toxins out of the eye. And how does it do that? Well, your red blood cells, they're like dump trucks. They deliver the oxygen to your cells. And then once they dump off the oxygen, they're empty dump trucks. And then they pick up the toxins and they take them out of your body. If those red blood cells travel to your underarms, you're going to conspire them out. If they take them to your lungs, you're going to breathe them out. And if they take them to your colon, you're going to do them out. And your kidneys, you're going to pee them out. But the older you are, the worse your blood flows to your eyes and all your other organs. And so what's going to happen next? Well, within 3 years of people getting cataract surgery, 60% of those people, as their eyes get worse due to the aging and disease process, they're going to be diagnosed with glaucoma or macular degeneration. So what do? Their doctor says, well, we're going to have to give you shots in your eyes. And so, usually it's like once a year the first year, maybe twice a year the second year, and then eventually every quarter, and then eventually every single month. How painful is that? But we just take it as, well, that's just what we have to do. And then after a while, the shots stop working. And then what the doctor says, because your eyes are getting worse because of poorer and poorer microvessel blood flow, more blockages in those microvessels, the doctor then says, now we're going to have to give you eye surgery. So then you have an eye surgery, and then, you know, after a while, the effect of that eye surgery, because you still have poor microvessel blood flow, you get another eye surgery and another one, and eventually the doctor says, I'm sorry, the surgeries aren't working anymore. You're just going to have to go blind. So like I said, to me, that's like the death of an organ when they tell you you're going to go blind. But that's, you know, happening to all our organs in the same kind of, you know, decline process. Take your brain, for example. You know, the first symptom that you're having poor microvessel blood flow to your brain is maybe when you're in your 50s and you say, oh, I think I have brain fog. You know, and then when you're in your 60s, you're saying, I'm having memory loss. I mean, the phone's always ringing to us at Bloomers Forever Young because they want our Clarity Factor product, okay, to get better brain function. Why do they have poor brain function? Because they have blockages in their brain's microvessels. And then as more blockages occur in the brain over time, then you get major memory loss, which we know what that's called, and no one wants to, you know, be in that situation. One final example is your heart. You know, how do you know you're going to have a heart problem? Like this first symptom, you have a heart problem, that your doctor will prescribe you one high blood pressure medication. And then a few years later, because you have more blockages in those microvessels, your doctor's going to prescribe you a second high blood pressure med. And then finally, probably a third high blood pressure med a couple of years later. And that's because your organ, your heart is breaking down, just like your eyes are breaking down and your brain is breaking down because of poor microvessel blood flow. So as more and more of your organs are getting worse over time due to poor microvessel blood flow, we start getting more and more pharmaceutical drugs. When we're in our 60s, the average American takes about 5 to 7 pharmaceutical drugs. When we're in our 70s, about 15 pharmaceutical drugs. And when we're in our 80s, about 22 pharmaceutical drugs. And I don't even know if a person has the memory enough to remember when to take all those 22 different pharmaceutical drugs in their 80s.
You're going to need a memory enhancer to remember when to take them.
Yeah. So getting near the end of the talk, I just want to say that 21st century scientists now have discovered the secret to prevent and reverse all these organ problems. It's simply to restore your microvessel blood flow and having way more stem cells being released from your bone marrow. And with all those extra stem cells being taken where they need to go to fix up your problems. So with this amazing mat, we lay on twice a day. You get at least 20% increase in stem cells and 30% increase in microvessel blood flow. And then we can start getting all our nutrients and stem cells delivered to wherever they need to go to renew, repair, and regenerate our body and all of our organs slowly over time to reverse that aging process. And over time, then we start looking and feeling years younger, and all for only $60 per month on a credit card. So in closing, I'd like to say, if anyone would like to look at some informational videos about this amazing life-changing mat, all they have to do is reach out by calling us at Bloomers Forever Young at 727-443-2500. And we're going to make sure those videos are sent out so people can do their own research to learn as much as they can about this amazing mat and to determine if $60 per month would be worth it for them. That's it.